Advertisers, salespeople, and even your friends are using subliminal persuasion techniques on you right now, and you have no idea it's happening. I'm exposing the 5 most powerful psychological techniques that make people say yes without them realizing why. Learn these and you'll see manipulation everywhere. Use them wisely. Welcome back to Psych Insights. Persuasion isn't about being pushy or aggressive. It's about understanding how the human brain makes decisions and gently guiding it in the direction you want. These techniques are used by Fortune 500 companies, master negotiators, and top salespeople every single day. I'm breaking down the 5 subliminal persuasion techniques that work on almost everyone, the psychology behind why they're so effective, and exactly how to use them ethically. Let's decode influence. Technique number 1, the Reciprocity Principle. And this is probably being used on you right now. Here's how it works. When someone gives you something, you feel psychologically obligated to give something back. It's hardwired, even if you didn't ask for it, even if you don't want it. Your brain creates a debt that needs to be repaid. This is why free samples work so well. The grocery store gives you a tiny cube of cheese. You didn't ask for it, but now you feel obligated. You're more likely to buy the cheese even though the sample cost them pennies. The reciprocity trigger has been activated. Restaurants discovered this decades ago. When servers bring mints with the check, tips increase by 3%. Just mints. If they bring the mints, walk away, then come back with more mints and say, "For you nice people, here's some extra." Tips increase by 20%. Same mints, different framing. The personalized second gift amplifies the reciprocity effect. Charities use this ruthlessly. Send you free address labels. You didn't ask for them, but now you feel guilty. The donation rate doubles compared to requests without gifts. You're paying back a debt you never agreed to. In business, give value first. Free content, free advice, free consultation. Help someone without asking for anything. When you do ask, they'll feel obligated to reciprocate. But here's the key. The gift must feel genuine, not transactional. If they sense you're only giving to get, the effect disappears. The reciprocity principle works because humans are social creatures. We survived by cooperating, and cooperation requires reciprocity. When someone breaks that social contract by not reciprocating, we remember. We avoid them. So the drive to repay is powerful. Technique number 2, scarcity and urgency. Make people think they're about to lose something and they'll act fast. Your brain is more motivated by potential loss than potential gain. Psychologists call this loss aversion. The pain of losing $100 is psychologically more intense than the pleasure of gaining $100. Marketers exploit this constantly. Limited time offers. Sale ends tonight. Only 3 left in stock. This deal expires in 24 hours. They're creating artificial scarcity to trigger urgency, and it works. Studies show conversion rates double when countdown timers are added to sales pages. Airlines do this brilliantly. Only 2 seats left at this price. Is that true? Maybe, maybe not. But you don't want to miss out, so you book immediately. That's the scarcity trigger. Exclusive access works the same way. Members only. Invitation required. Limited availability. By restricting access, you make the thing more desirable. Nightclubs with long lines outside aren't necessarily better. They're just better at creating perceived scarcity. The psychological mechanism is FOMO, fear of missing out. Your brain hates the idea that others have something you don't. So when something seems scarce, your decision-making shifts from, "Do I want this?" to, "How do I get this before it's gone?" Here's how to use this ethically. Create real scarcity, not fake. Limited seating for an event, true scarcity. Limited time for early bird pricing, legitimate urgency. But don't manufacture false scarcity. It destroys trust when people figure it out. And understand this. Scarcity works best when combined with high perceived value. Scarcity of something nobody wants doesn't create urgency, but scarcity of something valuable creates competition. Technique number 3, social proof. Show people that others are doing it and they'll follow. Humans are tribal. We look to the group to determine what's correct. If everyone's doing something, our brain assumes it must be right. This is herd mentality, and it's one of the most powerful persuasion tools. Restaurants put fake dollar bills in tip jars. Why? Because when you see others have tipped, you tip more. The jar shows social proof. Other people tip here, so I should too. Amazon shows bestseller badges. Netflix shows trending now. Spotify shows most played. They're all leveraging social proof. If millions of people are watching, buying, or listening, it must be good. Reviews and testimonials are social proof. 5-star ratings convince you more than any sales copy ever could, because you trust the crowd. One review is an opinion. 1,000 reviews is data. Even subtle social proof works. Studies show hotel guests are more likely to reuse towels when signs say, "Most guests in this room reuse their towels," versus generic environmental messages. Framing it as "others like you do this" triggers conformity. Here's the dark side. Social proof can lead to bad decisions. If everyone's buying a stock, you buy it too, right before the bubble pops. If everyone's ignoring a person in trouble, you ignore them too. That's the bystander effect. But used ethically, social proof is incredibly powerful. Showcase testimonials, display user counts, show real people using your product, highlight community. When someone sees others like them doing something, they're far more likely to do it too. The key is specificity. Join thousands of users is vague. Join 47,382 users who transformed their business this year is concrete and believable. Technique number 4, the foot in the door technique. Start small, then escalate. Here's the psychology. Once someone says yes to a small request, they're far more likely to say yes to a bigger request later. Why? Consistency. Humans want to see themselves as consistent. If you already agreed to help once, refusing the next request makes you feel inconsistent. Classic study. Researchers asked homeowners to put a tiny sticker in their window supporting safe driving. Small request. Most people agreed. 2 weeks later, they asked those same people to install a huge, ugly sign in their front yard. 76% agreed. In the control group, who never got the small request first, only 17% agreed to the big sign. The small commitment changed their self-perception. I'm someone who supports safe driving. Once you adopt that identity, the big request becomes consistent with who you are. Salespeople use this constantly. First, they get you to agree to a free trial, small commitment. Then they ask you to upgrade to a paid plan. You've already invested time. You've already said yes once. Saying yes again feels easier. Charities do this too. Would you be willing to sign this petition? Easy, yes. Now that you've signed, would you consider a small donation? Much harder to refuse because you've already committed publicly. Online, this looks like email signups before purchases. Join our newsletter. Small ask. Now that you're on the list, check out this limited offer. You're already in the door. The key to using this ethically is genuine value at every step. Don't manipulate people into bigger commitments they'll regret. Use small commitments to help people take action they actually want, but might be hesitant about. And here's the reversal. If you want to avoid being manipulated by this technique, pause before small requests. Ask yourself, is this leading somewhere bigger? Am I being foot in the door? Technique number 5, framing and anchoring. How you present information matters more than the information itself. Same fact, different frame, completely different response. Imagine a surgery with a 90% survival rate. Sounds good. Now imagine the same surgery with a 10% mortality rate. Same statistic, different frame. People avoid the second one even though it's identical. That's the power of framing. The context you create shapes how people interpret information. This wine is a great deal at $50 versus this wine costs $50. First frame emphasizes value. Second emphasizes cost. Sales change dramatically. Anchoring ties into this. The first number someone hears becomes the reference point for all future judgments. That's why pricing always shows the original price crossed out. $999, now $499. You're not evaluating whether $499 is a good price. You're anchored to $999, so $499 feels like a steal. Real estate agents do this. They show you overpriced houses first, anchor you to high prices. Then the reasonably priced house feels cheap by comparison. You're more likely to buy it. Negotiators use anchoring to set the terms. The first offer in a negotiation anchors the entire discussion. If you're selling a car and someone offers $2,000, every subsequent offer is relative to that anchor. But if you price it at $5,000 first, the negotiation centers there. Framing also determines perception. Free shipping on orders over $50 versus $5 shipping fee on orders under $50. Same outcome, different frame. The first feels like a reward. The second feels like a penalty. People respond better to rewards. Here's how to use framing ethically. Present information in the way that's most beneficial to the person you're persuading, not just to you. Frame your offer as solving their problem. Anchor with real value, not inflated fake prices. And to defend yourself, always ask, what's the anchor here? What frame is being used? Reframe the question. Instead of, is this a good deal compared to the anchor? Ask, is this a good deal compared to alternatives? Now here's what you need to understand. These techniques work. They work on everyone. They work on you. And with great power comes great responsibility. You can use these techniques to help people make decisions that benefit them. Persuade someone to invest in their health. Convince a friend to take a risk that could change their life. Influence your team to adopt a strategy you know will succeed. Or you can use them to manipulate people into decisions that benefit you at their expense. Sell them things they don't need. Push them into commitments they'll regret. Exploit their psychology for your gain. The techniques don't care. They're tools. The ethics come from how you use them. My rule: only persuade people toward outcomes you genuinely believe will benefit them. If you wouldn't want it used on you in that situation, don't use it. Persuasion is ethical when it aligns someone's decision with their actual best interest. It's manipulation when it doesn't. These techniques work because they exploit decision-making shortcuts. Your brain can't carefully analyze every decision, so it uses heuristics, mental shortcuts. Reciprocity, scarcity, social proof, consistency, framing. These are all heuristics. Usually they serve us well, but they can be exploited. Now that you know these techniques, you'll see them everywhere. In ads, in conversations, in politics. You can't unseen them. Use that awareness to protect yourself and to persuade ethically. Here's your action plan. This week, notice these techniques in the wild. Watch one commercial and identify which persuasion technique they're using. Scroll through one sales page and spot the scarcity, the social proof, the anchoring. Then practice using one technique in a low-stakes situation. Reciprocity is the easiest. Give someone genuine value without asking for anything. See how they respond. Notice the subtle obligation you've created. But remember, the most persuasive people aren't the ones who know the most tricks. They're the ones who genuinely care about the outcome for the other person. Techniques amplify authenticity. They don't replace it. Which of these 5 techniques surprised you most? Drop a comment. And if you want to dive deeper, I'm breaking down dark psychology tactics next, the manipulative versions of these techniques and how to defend against them. Hit subscribe for psychology that gives you real power. Thanks for watching, stay ethical, and I'll see you in the next one.